Hey guys, welcome to Retro Magazines and Patterns. I'm Sophie, and today I found some legs pantyhose. Yes, I found some when I was out at a yard sale this weekend, and seeing as how we were just talking about peggles, I was really excited to get my hands on some of these. So I thought with Christmas in July, I would go ahead and make this Santa peggle. So I've got all the pieces, both sides of the eggs. I was a little nervous, it was only the top part, but I have it. So I'm going to use a worsted weight yarn for this and a 5mm crochet hook. So the way that this is going to work is we're going to make a main peggle body. So it has just simple instructions for all the peggles. And then on the other side of the page, it does break down the different rows that we need to do in order to make it look like Santa. So at the end of the video, I will make sure to have the pattern available for you guys, but it's going to start off with a magic ring and 6 single crochets inside, and then we're going to go row by row. The first 12 rows are going to be pink, which will be Santa's face, and then we'll get into the red for his pants, and there's a little bit of black for his belt. Okay, so we finished all of Santa's face, and now we are going to start on his suit. So I'm just making sure it fits. It's a little snug, but there wasn't any gauge in the pattern, so I think this is fine. We'll just make sure to make it really snug and fit the egg. It'll stretch enough. So after we did 12 rounds of the pink, we're going to go ahead and do 2 rounds of red, 2 rounds of black, and then 1 more round of red. This is all going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change the color to red. This is how I like to change colors. I don't know if anybody knows this trick. I love it. It looks so nice and neat. You just put your hook in through those 2 loops of the previous stitch. Snipping that, get it out of the way. Okay, then you just take your new color, make sure you have enough on the other side, and then you're just going to pull it right through those 2 loops. It's like magic, guys. And then just go ahead and start crocheting as normal, and then you'll be able to just pull the previous color tight so it'll kind of lock it in place and it looks nice and neat. There, see, just pull it, and then you have a nice, neat color change. So I don't know how you guys usually do color change. I know this isn't exactly groundbreaking, but in case you weren't familiar with the technique, I just thought I'd share it with you guys. Okay, so after this round, we are going to start closing the peggle up and inserting the egg. Okay, so now it's time to insert the egg. It's a little snug, but when you pull it down over, it fits, and it fits nicely because you want it snug. You don't want it to be loosey-goosey, just flopping all over the egg. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that in there. I broke it up into two pieces, and now we're gonna start crocheting around with the egg in place. And this part gets a little tricky, so I will show you what I did to kind of make this easier. For me, this is not what the pattern called for, but I was finding it difficult and not enjoyable. So what I ended up deciding to do is, instead of just a single crochet in every stitch around, I actually did a single crochet front loop only all the way around, and I actually finished the rest of the rows this way. Everything was front loop only from this point forward, and you can see a bit of a difference, and you'll see that towards the end. That being said, I did also feel like doing this did stretch the stitches in a way that kept it from having too many holes, because that egg is black. If it's stretched too much, it may show through a lot more. So I kind of feel like it worked out in the end. But you guys let me know what you think about the technique. It could just be that I'm a really tight crocheter. This step might be easier for others to do it the way the pattern suggests, but front loop only was the way to go as far as I was concerned. Okay, so here is where I finished the Peggle part, the egg part. So he is all done, and then I went ahead and made sure to finish up the nose. That was just a series of single crochets in a 6 crochet magic ring. So that part wasn't too difficult, and I just stitched it on. And then I went ahead and added the ridge at the bottom to help him stand up straight. So you can see right there, as far as that ridge was concerned, I just did a round of surface crochets, and then I single crocheted into that. He's still a little wobbly, but he stands up. And I did complete one of the arms ahead of time. I did think it was funny that in the picture they have the arm in the middle of his head. So we're going to go ahead and attach them closer to where his suit starts on the Peggle. But we're going to go ahead and make the arm now. The second arm, it is just a magic ring, and we're going to increase after that first round, and then we're just going to do, I think it's 3 more rounds of pink, change to red, 5 rounds of red, and then we'll be done with the arms. Okay, so now that the arm is done, this isn't specified in the pattern, but I decided to go ahead and fold it in half and crochet it closed by doing a series of single crochets through both sides. I just like the way it looks. It looks a little bit neater, it gives a neater finish, and in my opinion, it's a little bit easier to attach it that way. So that's what I'm doing here, just closing that up by folding it in half and single crocheting through both sides. Okay, so let's go ahead and attach these. Attaching these were not difficult at all. Just like I said before, I didn't attach it in the middle of the pink area, which is Santa's face. I opted to do it down at the color change between pink and red, right where his suit starts. So I just picked a part on the side and just kind of stitched them on right there, nothing fancy. It's a little snug with the crochet being right up against the egg, the plastic of the egg, but just take your time. In particular, tapestry needles that I'm using are curved at the ends. That helped a little bit, but I can't imagine it would be too difficult if you had a straight needle either. Okay, so the arms are on. He is looking good. I'm getting really excited for him. So now it is time to start working on some of the other pieces. So I think next we're going to work on the feet. And this is just going to be a black worsted weight yarn. And I did have a little trouble with the feet at first. It's really simple, but the pattern is written in a way that I had to read it and reread it a few times for it to kind of sink in. So when you'll see it, I'll pop it up so you guys can take a look at it, but it had me reading and rereading it for a few moments before I was able to finally say, okay, I got it. But I did eventually get the feet done and attach them to Santa. Okay, so Santa's feet are done. I'm going to go ahead and attach them to the bottom. I did attach them somewhat towards the center so that they rested on the standing ridge. There weren't really any clear instructions on assembly with this particular pattern. So in the picture, it looks like they may have been attached at the edge of the standing ring, but I just felt like this kind of gave it a little bit more, I don't know what it needed under the ridge in the front to keep it standing up, if that makes any sense. So you can see right here, I'm just kind of attaching it in the middle section, and I'm just making sure that it's tacked down so that they won't fall off or flop around. Okay, so now let's go ahead and work on Santa's belt buckle. So the pattern does suggest using felt. I found this beat up vintage roll of A Golden Yellow by CL, and I've had this in my stash for a while. I think this was something that I found at the Goodwill bins. Like I said, I always pick up yarn when I find it, and it's for these reasons in particular. So I didn't have a good gold colored felt, so I thought that I would just embroider the belt buckle on using this color. Just need a little bit, and I'm just going to do a square set of stitches. Right here, you'll see just working it back stitch through the front in a square to give him the little golden belt buckle he needs. So again, I mean, use felt if you have it. If you don't, you can certainly go ahead and embroider it on. I'm sure there's a good gold color yarn or felt somewhere in your stash. Okay, so I like the belt buckle. I think it turned out really good. So we're going to move on. The next thing that we're going to work on is going to be Santa's hat. So with the hat, I actually had, I was surprised. The pattern doesn't match up with the picture. And I was a bit disappointed at first because I did really like the way that the hat looked. It gave it kind of a cute, quirky, goofy look. But that being said, when I finished the hat that the pattern had given me, I was okay with that too. It's really classic and he still looks really cute. And I mean, I could have modified the pattern, I'm sure, to make it look like the photo. It wouldn't have been more difficult, but I opted to just stay with what the pattern had. Okay, so I finished Santa's hat. I made the little pom-pom. I did the 2 rows of white. The pattern only calls for 1. I did 2. And then I just attached it to his head. I also went ahead and started playing around with how I wanted the beard to be positioned. So I did one side, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you just how I did it with the other side. So this is a really simple technique. I'm just taking small pieces of white yarn, pulling it through with a smaller crochet hook, a much smaller one, and then just grabbing it, pulling it through the hoop, and then making sure that it's nice and tight and snug. And then I'm just gonna finish filling in the rest of the beard that way. And then I'm gonna snip all the pieces and fray them a bit so he has a fuzzy beard. Okay, so now we're going to work on Santa's mouth, and this also called for a piece of felt. I just had the red yarn there, and I figured I could do just as good of a job stitching on a little mouth instead of pulling out the red felt. So that's just what I'm doing here. Okay, so now it is time to shape up Santa's beard. I want to go ahead and trim off the excess length. I didn't want it this long, so we're going to go ahead and trim that up, make it a nice little shape, and then I'm going to go ahead and fray the pieces there just by pulling the plies apart to kind of give him that cute fuzzy Santa beard that we're all used to. Okay, so Santa's beard looks good, and now it's time to put some eyes on him. So I got out my handy dandy googly eye case, and we're gonna pick the biggest size I have, because I think that looks about like what they have in the picture. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and attach these off camera because I don't have an outlet near me, and I need to use my glue gun. So let me go ahead and get those attached, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that we have his eyes in place, his nose, his beard, I think we want to go ahead and put in a few pieces of hair around the edge of the cap. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it, but the more I looked at it, the more I realized that he did need a little bit of hair or fuzz coming out from underneath the cap. So I'm going to go ahead and do that using the same technique I used for the beard and fray those up a bit. And then after that, I think we're going to be all set. Now I thought we might add some eyebrows to Santa. They don't have them in the pattern, but when I was looking at him, I just thought he was missing something. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a few little stitches right above the eyes to give him some cute little eyebrows. Okay, so Santa is all done, and I think it looks great. I did think that it would be really fun to take this bottom part of the container and make it into a chimney with some red construction paper, but I could not find any. So that will be a project for another day. But I hope you guys enjoyed making this Peggle with me. Let me know in the comments below if you have any other Peggle ideas, because I do actually have one more egg. So I was toying around with maybe some holiday ideas or Halloween, something like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.